Hey friends, it's Julie from Plan to Create, and today I'm going to give you a closer look at my clear stamp storage system, but also walk you through the process of what happens when I add in some new ones. You're going to see here that the colorful file folders are separated out into the brands that I most commonly use, and then inside that I label the name of the actual stamp set. This system is available from the stamp market, and I'm giving you a glimpse here of kind of what comes. You get these laminated file folders and some plastic sleeves. I obviously also purchase the colorful ones to be my big dividers, but you're going to see that I go ahead and I trim mine down even more than what they come with. These stamps are basically 4 by 6, so I just trim a little bit off of the bottom, obviously not the tabbed edge, and you'll see here that I just very specifically measure. I kind of line it up with that black mark on my trimmer, and I trim these down for the 4 by 6 stamp sets. First I cut the laminated folders, and then I will come through and trim down the plastic sleeves as well so that everything is size appropriate and they all fit together. Next up, I break out my P-Touch labeler. I think this is probably the super old school, but it works for me. So you're going to see I do a couple of things. I change it so that the cut option is not already determined. It's actually a chain margin, so that means it will just adjust the length of the label according to how long your word is, basically. And then I change my font size to 12 point. You're going to see that I type in KBS, that stands for Carrie Bradford Studio, and her section has grown exponentially this past year in my storage here. I absolutely love her stamps, and I'm super excited to be able to announce that I have just recently joined her creative team. So I get to work with some of her newest stamps every month, and I thought I would just bring you guys along while I add these guys to my stash. Before I forget, I'm going to show you a quick photo of the tape that I use. It's a matte clear tape, and I love it. I'll be sure to add a link in the description box below. So of course I sped this up for you guys because I know your time is precious, but all in all, I think the process of this, I glanced and it was like 57 seconds for me to create all the labels for this. So that's pretty speedy. It's worth it in the end because it makes finding the exact items how I want, when I want, so much easier. I know that I just zoomed through those awesome stamps. You can see that these are really word heavy this month. There's lots of journaling prompt type stuff, lots of things to include in like daily journaling. But here I give you a nice fat glimpse at this by the month set. Oh my gosh, you guys, that font, the crispness, it's so good. I love it. If you're following me over on Instagram, be prepared for some reels. I used the heck out of this guy. Okay, got a little distracted by the beautiful stamps, but I just wanted to bring you back and let you know that when you chain margin print your labels like this, they basically print out one behind. So your very last label, it's still stuck in the machine unless you feed and cut. So you'll see me do that. I shift and hold that button in order to get that last label printed out. Okay, so instead of me talking you through how I unpeel each label and stick it on the lamination, come on. I am going to actually talk about the fact that I have committed myself to this plastic storage space for my stamps. That's been my go-to. Hey guys, assign real estate, stay with it. So I kind of feel like a schmuck because I'm struggling with it. I have so many stamps that I love and I'm not really prepared to get rid of any. I actually went through this process. I have this new monthly set, so I dug through some of my older monthly sets oh, could I part with this one? Could I part with that one? I think I eliminated one other one from my stash. But you're going to see here as I load this into my folder, things are tight. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. And you can see how big that Carrie Bradford Studio section is, and that's just my purchases. That has nothing to do with me being on her team. So I managed to get mine in here, but I realized really quickly that I'm not going to be able to accumulate much more unless I make some space. And so I have to kind of be honest here and share with you guys. I dearly love my Feed Your Craft stamps, but the company isn't open anymore, and so I don't grab these quite as often. So I'm not going to get rid of them, don't freak out, but I have to be honest and say I have a second little plastic bin, much like the first. I keep it at the bottom shelf of my little planner cart, and I have been tucking away seasonally specific stamps. So you can see some of my items that I would use for Christmas, Halloween. I think I have spring down there when it's off season. But I'm going to go ahead and put these stamps down in that bin. So they're still here, they're still accessible, they're just not playing with all the others quite the same. I stick them in the front so they're still visible, but they are tucked slightly out of my everyday reach. Okay, I feel so much better. I feel like I finally have room to breathe and I can continue to accumulate a few new stamps. I'm still going to try to keep myself in check. I did replace that one monthly set, but I'm not going to lie, it was Feed Your Craft, and there's a really good chance that it's already sitting in the bottom shelf with the other Feed Your Craft guys. There's room for it now. Okay, storage is fun, and I am happy that I got to share with you guys this peek at how I store my stamps and kind of some new ones that I've been able to add. But I am slowing this down here so that you guys can see this Lifing Volume 1 and 2. And then I thought it would be fun to show you guys a project. I do use these sets. I use the by the month set in this little project. So stick around because I hope that you guys can see these products put to use. Okay guys, I am in love with my journaling project, but I don't know if any of you are the same way as me, but I'm not necessarily a strong photo taker. So I'm actually going to use these sets. I'm going to kind of create this like May 2023 label here in the beginning, but then I'm going to come through with these Lifing sets, and I am going to basically create little prompts for my journaling in my creative journal. I oftentimes let my photographs guide the stories that I include here on these pages, but what I really want to do is to get those little glimpses of everyday life. And so these are just going to be the exact things that are going to pull those stories out of my head and get them down onto paper. I selected a few of these prompts that I thought would relate to the things that I generally do in life. You'll see things like watching, like shows that we're watching, listening. I love to listen to podcasts, but I also tried to include learning, struggling, some topics that might dig a little bit deeper than just those surface things. You'll see I was able to add a couple little icons in that just happened to correlate with the topics. I thought that was kind of fun, like the watching, the filming. And I also include a couple of quotes like that I pull out. They're not from this Carrie Bradford release, but they are just things that I feel like are pertinent and good little reminders for me. I'm going to pull out my journal in a second here, and you're going to kind of see how I intend to use these in the month of May. I have pre-stamped some of my dates and some of my items in my pages. You'll get a glimpse of that. And then you'll see here, like this is what I envision, just sprinkling these on my pages wherever I want to bring them to life. I had already added a couple that I thought might be pertinent to that week. And then I just have the month kind of prepped and a little bit of prompting here to keep me trucking through my pages in May. I know I've covered a lot of ground, all the way from kind of organization to how I would use these stamps in my journal, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching, and I would appreciate a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Thanks so much, guys. Till next time.